Hello traders, Gary Wagner here, just about 10:45 in Honolulu, 3:45 in New York on Tuesday, 15th day of March 2016, and this is the Daily Report for Gold and Silver. The FOMC has begun or convened its current meeting today. It will go on through tomorrow, in which tomorrow we'll get some sort of an announcement as to whether or not the Fed is going to raise rates or keep them where they are and what their current plan is. Looking at gold right now, very, very quiet in anticipation of the conclusion of the Fed meeting, trading at about 1233.5, roughly in that area. It's traded to a high of 1238.11. and a low of 1225.81. Of course, we've been sitting flat as we have seen this correction get underway. And the real question is, where can we look to find some support? And that is going to be the topic of today's daily report. So traders, simply put, to answer the question as to where we can look to find some support in the market, I draw your attention to the current chart that we're looking at. It is a half-day chart. It is in standard candlestick format. A couple of things that we have added to the chart. First of all, our current Elliott wave count. Now, this, of course, is a sub-count. All of this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 represents a subcount to a intermediate 1. And if that's correct, then that is the way that we can accurately account for the dynamics of this market right now. It would be very, very highly probable that what we're going to see right now is some sort of an A, a B, and then a final C, and that would conclude a intermediate wave 2 of sorts. Now, with that in mind, I also have a couple of fib retracements. Now, the first fib retracement takes us from these lows at about 1046 up to these tops at about 1287. The second retracement sequence that I have starts at the beginning of wave 3, which comes in roughly at 1071 and takes us up to this top right here, the conclusion of 5 at around 1287. Now, when we do that, we get really a band. It's not so much harmonics because these numbers are fairly scattered apart. They're not on top of each other, but we do have these 23% retracements between 1230 and 1236. So I look at this as a potential sweet spot to look for some potential support in the market. In other words, this particular band here between those two numbers, meaning 1230 and 1237, so right in here. Now, we have had the real bodies over these last couple of days definitely fall within this particular area. And so it is possible, especially if the announcement tomorrow comes out in which they are not going to raise interest rates, I believe that that would absolutely be supportive, of course, of gold, that we could see some potential support here and we would get a rise. Now, if in fact we got a rise, then what we really want to do is, assuming that this is our A wave right here, what we want to do is calculate a B wave that's anywhere between 50 and 75% that of A. We would go ahead and do that should that be how this market unfolds. However, if it cannot hold this particular area in terms of technical indicators and in terms of strong support and resistance based upon these Fibonacci numbers that we're looking at, the next real area that we would have to look at comes in between 1204 and 1194, and that is the 38% retracement of these two particular fib sequences. So with that in mind, we are going to sideline. We want to see if some support comes into the market in this area like this. Of course, again, this is a half a day chart, so this is the first part of the session and the current part of the session. But if we find some support in this area and we see this market move up, then we know that we've got some sort of a B wave, and we want to calculate the distance between here, meaning 1287, and these lows in here that come in roughly at 1230, and calculate a 50 to a 75% area, and that area, of course, would represent where we think the B wave's going to go. On the other hand, if it cannot hold support in this area, we will look to see a dip, and it could dip as low, I believe, as about 1210 to 1205. This has been Gary Wagner, wishing you, as always, good trading. We will talk to you tomorrow for another daily update and review. Bye-bye.